Hello all the world. Welcome to my second video based on the book The Mustache History of the Turk by academic writer Doğan Gülpınar, which I recently read. In the first video, The Interesting History of the Mustache, I made a general video about mustaches and beards. Now in the second video I will discuss topics that interest me related to the main topic of the book. I recommend that you read this book.
Kaldır ellerini.
In the Renaissance of West, man was reinvented. Since this invention, the description of Turks in Europe as mustached became a national complex after a while. After the proclamation of the Republic, a series of cultural policies and laws were implemented to transform society so that New Turkey could become part of Western civilization. These laws were imposed by force, as is the practice of the modernization process in all geographies. Mustafa Kemal thinned his mustache considerably in 1925 and shaved it off at the beginning 1926. He looks cheerless and a little sullen in his first photographs without a mustache. At that time, the mustache was a decoration of masculinity and courage on the body. This status of mustache in cultural memory undoubtedly affected him. Mustafa Kemal was the absolute ruler of the country at that time. The chiefs of the İttihat and Progress Party were executed and opposition press organs were shut down. The person at the top, whose masculinity was unquestionable, showed the public the absence of a mustache with such a brave act. It was also a demonstration of civilianization of civilian and democratic ideals. Mustafa Kemal no longer needed to derive his legitimacy from military command. He retired from military service in 1927. Michel Foucault's statement, the physical presence of the king was necessary for the functioning of the monarchy, whereas the republic has nobody, applies to Western democracies. Democratic legal institutions don't need a body. In Turkey, the republic has always had a body, demigod. This is also the case in this period. Mustache trimming in Turkey started to spread during and especially after the First World War, which was in line with the trend in Europe. Before World War I, there were very few mustache trimmers. In the late 19th century, Victorian masculinity began to transform. Sports became prominent, especially in France and Germany, and there was a transformation of power towards the disciplining and subordination of the body. Nationalism spreads and fuses with modernization around the ideal of bodily perfection. Physical education classes enter the curriculum.
Beyler buna trambolin derler. Yaylanıp sıçrayacaksınız. Yükseğe, daha yükseğe, en yükseğe.
The new Turkishness must have a fit body. The covering, lethargic peasantry will be destroyed and new modernized bodies will be created. The mustachelessness of Nihal Ats's The Most Famous Hitler Fan in Turkey is an example of this new paradigm of power. The equation of mustachelessness with modernity is also standard in the United States. On the other hand, an image of Turkishness is emerging that doesn't embrace Ats's unrealistic fascist fantasies. For people in Anatolia who have lived with mustaches for thousands of years, this image of the mustached Turk is a salvation, as a backdrop, and the drawings that make this novel gripping were created by an American artist living in Paris. The identity of the young artist, who is known to have undertaken the work for a low royalty, is unknown. It is the penniless art student who is the creator of the image of the long-haired, drooping mustache, burqa-clad Central Asian Turk, an image that is still in the minds of nationalists today. The novel and his drawings, which set up a universe like that of fictional world novels, were transferred to reality after a while. In the 1930s, national education and various propaganda campaigns needed role models to engrave Turkish history in the minds and hearts of new generations with prideful symbols. These role models, largely influenced by the medieval image of the Turk produced in France in the novels and drawings of the 19th century, played a significant role in societal transformation. In the 1960s, when NATO-backed paramilitary forces based on anti-communist propaganda were produced, the Central Asian Turkish moustache became more functional, highlighting the power of persuasion in shaping societal norms. However, a top-down image of modernization can only partially be established in a multicultural and multi-ethnic geography like Anatolia. The shalwar next to the trousers, the beard next to the mustache, the push next to the hat, and the headscarf of the modern woman's appearance continues in the context of cultural diversity. Of course, they interact, but they continue to exist. This is a richness inherited from the empire and a necessity of Anatolian geography as a bridge. No government in Anatolia has been able to uniformize the richness of this geography. I'm longing for a democratic structure where this diversity is protected. See you later.